Hello my friends, welcome to another episode of Stephanie's Stamp Pad, where we get together and create a project. Today's project is a beautiful, adorable, fun pillow box. Now, whenever I see my little monsters, I immediately think of my nephews. Ben and Carter right now are 6 and 3, and they're my little monsters. I adore those little boys. I've never been around little boys before because obviously I have daughters, but let me tell you, they are a hoot, and I just love them to pieces. And when I see this little box, I think of them, and I think I need to use this to put their little gift cards in because they love to get gift cards. Because of course for their birthdays and Christmas, they always get lots of presents. But it's so fun to give them a gift card because then they can go to the store and they know it's money and they get to go to the store and they get to go buy whatever they want and they make a big deal. It's just it's an extra little treat for them. So I'm thinking they need to get this. But look at how cute. Now I'm sure you have a little monster in your life, and if you don't, you know, perhaps your spouse or somebody like that could be your little monster, but it's just too cute not to do, right? Am I right? Okay. Now, what do we need to create this project? We need the Stamps of Life Pillow Box die set. It's an exclusive die set to us, and it has lots of other dies, but we're just going to use this die and this die for this. Then we're also going to use, and so you can see it, I'm going to hold it like this. We're using the Monsters for Birthday, and you can see that we're going to be using the archival ink for this one. Gosh, why can't I even say it? Archival die ink for this one. So it is going to stain our stamps. Don't worry, it's still going to work perfect, but just so you know, it will stain them a little. We're also going to be using the monster dies to go with this. We're going to be using some of our Stamps of Life markers because we're going to color, and a couple little inking things. Are you ready to get started? Let's start playing. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to die cut our box. We're going to lay that down, and we're going to lay this down. Now this does go through a standard machine, a 6-inch machine, so the Vagabond, the Big Shot Plus would work, the Big Kick, anything like that's going to work. We're going to run that through, and then we are going to run through, there you go, awesome. So now we have our, whoops, there we go. So now we have our box. We're going to also run through this piece. So this is a layering piece, just like that, and we're going to run that through. Oh, I bet you we can use a small, nope, little too, see, it just doesn't fit perfect. I mean, it almost would, but you want it to be bigger than your die just to make sure. So we're going to run that through, and then let's put this together. Okay, so now we have this cute little piece here, and we're going to save that because we might need that for later, right? Now, let's put our box together. What you're going to do, and let's use some scratch paper because I don't want to ever add adhesive onto my, I would never want to add adhesive to this while it's on my secret weapon. Always have a layer of protection. You don't want adhesive on your secret weapon. So what we're going to do is on any of my boxes, like my box card die, any of the tag holders or anything like that, always add adhesive to the top flap or the top tab. So we're just going to add adhesive to that, and I'm going to add 2, and then we're going to fold them on those nice deep score lines. So we're going to fold that there, and we're going to fold that there. Look how deep that is. That's awesome. Now we're going to close that, and we're going to just press down. Give it a nice press. We really want that to adhere. Now we have our cute little box. Isn't that cute? Now what we're going to do is we are going to pop that one in first. Now, as you probably know, cardstock has definite grain lines, and it does not ever like to score on a curve, but these score lines are extra deep. I did that on purpose, so they really will score easily. Every once in a while we'll get a question about that, but look how easily that, I have icky on my finger. That's freaking me out. Hang on. Okay, and I scratched myself opening my new hair straightener. That looks horrible. Okay, so now we're going to just, look at this, watch this. Just fold it in. Didn't have to do anything extra. And cardstock does not like to be scored on a curve because of those grain lines. So you know how deep those score lines must be to have it score that easily, which is really nice. Okay, so now we have the box. Now we're going to decorate our cute little cover. And I'm going to use, I want some banana ink, so we're gonna grab some banana. And we're gonna get a block, and we're gonna have it say, "You're my favorite little monster." Because my boys are my favorite little monsters. So whose birthday's, oh, Carter's birthday's coming up next, so I guess this is gonna be for him. Now, we're going to stamp this, but then we're just gonna stamp it. So make sure they can see at least one really, really good. But then, once we do that, you can start going off the edges a little. And so like right here, I'm just gonna go a little bit right there, just to add more excitement and to make it more random looking. Oops, I don't think I got, there we go. So I'm gonna go like this way. Look how cute this is. Now I see that I have some here. Now again, you can see I'm using my secret weapon, of course, but I have a piece of paper behind it, just so when I go off the edges, I don't get that on my secret weapon. You wanna protect your secret weapon as much as possible. And let's see, I think I just need a little one right there, and I think that it looks fantastic. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move that off to the side, and then we're going to ink the edges. Adding a little bit of ink to the edges just always dresses it up, and I always get ink all over me. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna add a little bit just around the edges. Look how it makes it just pop. Isn't that awesome? Now I'm using the same color ink, but I'm using a different ink pad, even though it's the same color. I don't wanna use this on my real ink pad that I use for stamps, because these little fuzzies that just collect on these would get on that ink pad, and then it would contaminate it, and then next time I stamp like a word or a solid image, I'd have a piece of fuzz, and you don't want that piece of fuzz, because then your solid image or your words aren't gonna stamp correctly. So I use these little tiny ones, these little tiny ink pads for my inking. Now I can close this up, and just so you know, once you have these and you have the big one to go with it, the same inker, the re-inker, will work for both. So you don't have to worry, you know, those re-inkers are gonna last you forever. I've never ran out of one. So you're just gonna re-ink both of them with the same re-inker, which is handy. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add this guy to our box, and we're gonna actually add quite a bit of adhesive to this, because we could have even used Sizzix adhesive, because it's gonna curve, and as I said, remember, cardstock does not like to curve. So we're gonna add a lot of adhesive so it does curve. So it does what we want it to. Okay, so we're gonna lay this down, line it up, and we're gonna give it a nice squeeze. Now, to make sure, if we really wanted to, we could flatten our box again and really press down. I think it's gonna be fine right just like that. So now we have the box. Now, let's make our little monster. Okay, what we're gonna do is we are going to get our cardstock. That one has an icky, so there, that's good. And we're going to get our cute little monster out. And we'll get our block. Now, this is not an ink pad that I would recommend you letting children play with. When the boys come over to stamp, I always make sure they have the regular dye inks, because those are washable. This one doesn't really wash off as easily, especially off of skin. It will, but it doesn't wash off your stamp, so just a heads up, okay? So we're going to stamp this guy fairly much in the middle. Again, I'm pressing on my secret weapon, and I'm pressing on the back of the stamp. That's always gonna give you a better image when you press directly on the back. Sometimes people will just go like this and expect it to be a perfect image. You need to press on the back so it gets direct contact to that paper. We're gonna lift that up. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so now we get to color. Dun, dun, dun. Now, if you've ever watched any of my videos, I'm not much of a colorer. I'm a little, you know, I've taken all those fancy classes that are 8 hours long with all those fancy markers, and I found I just prefer regular markers. So we have regular markers that match our color wheel. And I just find that I don't like the stress of coloring. So what I like to do is add color, but not stress about it with those fancy expensive markers. So we just have markers, and I'm just gonna color. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna play with it, and I'm not gonna worry, ooh, is that perfect? Are my shadows perfect? Because really, do you really think that the people you're gonna give this to are going, oh, her shadow's off? You know, I mean, they're not. They're just gonna be so thrilled that you made them a card. They just wanna be, you know, they're just gonna be amazed that you did that. So I'm going to quickly color this, and I would go a little slower if I was really going to give this card to somebody, but I know you don't want to watch me spend all day coloring this. So I'm going to go kind of fast, but look how nice these pens color. They color just great. They're not expensive markers. You can use any markers that you have. If you want them to match our color palette, then you'll want to get ours, but you can use any markers. It doesn't matter. The sky's the limit. You don't have to spend a fortune on the fancy markers. I just want you to know that. And back in the day, I used to think that I needed to, and I'm telling you, I spent over $500 and I never had enough colors to do what I wanted to do. And it really bothered me. And then I realized, you know what? I'm stressing about something so silly. So that's just my 2 cents. If you're a good colorer and you like those expensive markers, more power to you. I think it's fantastic. I just don't have the patience, and I know a lot of others don't. So there's no wrong in crafting. That's what I like to say. If you like to color with the expensive markers, fantastic. If not, be like me. Whatever works for you is the right answer. So we're just going to kind of go like this. I just want you to see, and then I'm going to just color it kind of fast. But look they blend just as well. They're fantastic. So let's color this one a little bit more. And these monsters are fun to color, don't get me wrong. What I like to do is I like to stamp a whole bunch, and then I take them in front of the TV, and then I'll color a whole bunch while I'm watching TV. Because sometimes, you know, you'll be watching a show that doesn't need your attention, but you want to listen to it and hear it. And so it's fun just to color while you're listening. So look at this, look how fun this is. And I'm just going to color. And I'm not worried too much about going out of the lines. Look how nice these markers, it's not bleeding onto my orange, so I don't have to worry about contaminating my orange. Look how cute this is. This little guy is adorable. Now I already have one that's done, so I know you don't want to watch me do this all day long. So we're just going to finish this little orange, and then I'm going to switch to the one that's already done. So now we have one that's completely done. See? Ta-da! And we're going to die cut him. So we're going to lay him down, and we're going to die cut this. Now, just for fun, we are also going to use this cute little die. I know it doesn't look like much, but this cute little die on some scrap orange paper to add our little bow for our present. So I'm just going to lay that down, and I should probably add adhesive to that, but oh well. Okay, so let's run this baby through. Oops, I just moved that. Did you see that? I moved my cutting pad and it moved this. So there we go. We want to make sure we get that lined up. Lay that down. Now we're going to run that through. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Okay, so now we have this perfectly stamped and die cut, and we're going to add our little guy. We're going to add adhesive just to this one little spot right here. So we're just going to add adhesive right there because he's going to kind of pop off this a little bit. So we're going to add him right there, and we're going to add this little bow. And if you were smart, you would add adhesive to that, but that's okay. Sizzix adhesive, that is. Now we're going to lay that right on top. So I didn't even have to color that orange part if I didn't want to. You could do either or. And then what we're going to do is we are going to add our cute little bow, our little twine bow. Let's see if I have any stickies on here. I do. Fantastic. So we're going to add a little sticky right where, oh yeah, right there. Just to add a cute little guy there. And then we're going to add a fun little felt balloon. So we're just going to add a little extra decoration. And you can never go wrong with embellishments. I love embellishments. And so we're going to add that one right there. And just to make sure that string doesn't go any extra places, we're going to add a little, whoops, let's grab this one off. Normally you don't want to ever touch these little stickies, but I wanted to for that because I'm going to just add that little guy right there because I don't want it to go flying too much. Now, last but not least, we're going to just tie a quick bow, and we are going to add that to one of the sides. So we're going to trim that. Oops. Let's get that perfect. There we go. And we're going to just move the arms around. The legs. Get those arms nicer. There we go. There we go. And then we're going to, oh my goodness gracious. I was using my scissors earlier for another project. I need my nice clean scissors that somebody gave me. Okay, well, we're gonna have to trim this later because I'm not gonna try to trim it with regular scissors. And we're gonna add this cute little guy right here. And look at that. I can't believe I don't have scissors on this table. Can you believe I don't have scissors on this table? That is hilarious. But look at how beautiful this is if we trim that right there. How adorable is our little monster? Isn't he adorable? Now, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Stephanie's Stamp Pad, where we get together every week and we make a project. I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.